When I picked up my truck, I really liked the equipment that the vehicle was optioned with. However, I knew that the headlights were going to be something I wanted to upgrade because I had the standard halogens on this one, where my previous truck had the xenons. So I knew it was something I'd be missing and something that I noticed with night driving. Now, I did try to upgrade with LED bulbs, and it did make some difference, but just the way that the headlamps are designed, it scatters a lot of the light, and I feel like it's a distraction for oncoming drivers and just not the optimal setup designed for night driving. So with that, reached out to Archaic Headlights. They sent me out some of their headlights that are LED with the projectors, and yeah, I'm going to update those today. So I'm using the BOYA mics. Comes with this charging case. As you can see, 2 lav mics. Here's the receiver that goes in the phone, and it has 2 adapters, one for lightning over there, and one for USB-C. So depending on the compatibility of your device, right here is where you can put the adapter for your appropriate application. Everything fits nicely inside the charging case. It also came with a couple accessories here. .5 plugs, USB-C to USB-A. Couple of these little filters for muffling wind noise, and then these magnetic clips that can go on the back of the mic. So if you prefer to clip it as opposed to so it comes with a magnetic backing here. So if you wanted to use the clip, you could do that as well. And right now I'm using the phone's mic, but let me switch to these BOYA mics. All right, now I'm on the BOYA mic. So I'm currently using my phone to record. I have the transmitter plugged into the lightning port on the bottom, and using the microphone like so. But yeah, we'll give these a shot, see how it goes. But that's everything I got with the package. I'll leave a link if you guys want to pick one up for yourselves. All right, let's do some truck stuff. Install these new headlights. Disregard the mess that I'm working through. Doing some rearranging. See about getting this headlight off. So I need to first get these bezel pieces off. And so if you got one of these trim tools, they come in handy right now. I think it's 7mm on the side. These guys here. This one and this one, 7mm. this is all that you were trying to unclip here. All right. I'm gonna disconnect the mic for a minute so I can charge, but I'm gonna remove some 10 mils. There's several along the front, a few on the top, and also some on the side over here. And it looks like there's one smaller one here. Instructional video I saw, it said it was an 8 mil. So on the side here, there was a 10 mil in there. That I'm gonna need some needle nose, I think, to pinch that one to release it so I can get this piece off here. Looks like this needs to get pressed back. There's one here. My tool's touching here. There's that one, and then this one. Pushing this guy back to unclip it from this little bracket here, because you can see, maybe you can't see, but this bracket goes and extends below the bumper, so that's why it's catching, because that piece is hitting the bumper. What do you know? Okay, that's removed. Almost matched. Alright, there's also a 10 mil. Kind of hit it in the back there. Our top and bottom, the one in the middle, that's kind of a black one. That's the 10 mil I need to get this headlight out. So I'm gonna need an extension. All mic'd up again. Let's get that 10 mil. There it is. 10 mil. See if we can't take this out. All right. All right, headlamps out. I had to get 3 harnesses, or 3 plugs from the harness unplugged. Plus this guy right here. It's got some pretty grabby teeth right there that were grabbing onto the plastic. Right here, you can use a flathead. I used my trim tool to just get those unhooked. Yeah, and then just unplugged everything else. Should have finished cleaning the garage first, but here we are. All right, in the box, all the wiring harnesses here, some tiny little cable ties, and then some directions that'll hopefully be helpful. That's what they look like. Black housing, bit of a sporty look. I think it goes well with the trim on the truck currently. I'm gonna try to delete any of the chrome stuff, but we'll get to that. Mainly I was interested in something with a projector, just because I have with the stock ones, I'll bring those over so you can see what I'm talking about. So with the stock one, you just have the illumination inside the housing of the headlamp where it's basically just spraying light everywhere. Hoping with the projector, this will give a little bit more of a focus beam with the projector and hopefully be a little bit more oncoming traffic friendly. So the directions, what I think is what it's stating is there's 3 different sets of directions on this side of the page, where if you're doing a 15 through 17, it gives you a heads up, 17 through 20 with the HIDs, 15 through 20 with LEDs. So depending on what your current setup is, there's going to be some additional steps you'll have to do. So I had halogen bulbs on my 15. So it looks like, according to that, it's a direct installation. No additional harnesses are going to be required. On the back side, this is a little bit less straightforward, because now I'm assuming they're going left to right, top to bottom. Gotcha. And then it lists here, that's not fun, but first on this one I was going to point out that it says plug it yellow. Plug it is daytime running lights yellow. Unplugging it is daytime running lights white. So I want to go with yellow, so I'm going to plug it in. Plug it DRL breathing, turn signal running light. unplug it, DRL no breathing, turn signal no running light. All right, so it's going to have a different running light, or excuse me, different turn signal setup depending on if you plug or unplug this setup. This one is going to be the running lights, yellow or white. That one's going to be turn signal breathing or not, which I'm assuming breathing is reference to sequential. This is what I was pointing out. It's probably going to be less fun. So on the stock headlights, up here at the top, so this is the back of the stock ones. Right here on the top, you have the adjustment for the headlight. Adjust the beam accordingly. Kind of play with the horizon a little bit so it doesn't blind people. I think I bought it used. I think whoever purchased the leveling kit didn't adjust the high beam, or excuse me, the headlights beam after they did the leveling kit. So I did notice that I was getting, I mean, I still get it now, but before I was getting a lot of upset oncoming traffic drivers. But this one, here are the adjustments for the low beams and the high beams. So low beams, is my understanding, is the upper. This is what it's going to look like in the car. So this is the upper beam and the lower. In order to access these, I'll need to remove the wheel well liner to get the beam to adjust once I have them on. Anyways, once you get it set once, you should be good. Keep them both plugged in. So I want the sequential and I want the yellow. So let's see how that goes. Those are both plugged in. Here's where I would have to plug the DRLs. So take this, plug this guy in. All right, feels pretty secure. All right, everything else should be just plug and play. So I'll just reconnect the harnesses. The 3 harnesses I unplugged from the original set, or the stock headlight, just plug in there. All right, I'll put all the screws back in. So on the side here, for this fender piece, the flare piece, when I pried this out, these little plastic connectors were in the trim piece, not in the fender piece. So I pried them out of the trim piece here. It's easier to then set them in properly on the flared piece here. Then all you got to do is just push these things, line up the holes and push them in, and they'll click back in. Now that I got those there, now I can snap these guys in. There we go. This to put back in the wheel well. This one goes on the top. And then I got 2 7s. There you can see the stock one. Stock light. New updated one. Let's do the, so there's the, what they referred to as breathing, the sequential turn signal. And there's your stock turn signal. And there's the high beam. So for the DRLs, I ran it behind the air intake. I'm gonna run it up along the hood here. And then the connection for the headlamp, it's coming in where the other harnesses are coming in, right above where the washing fluid reservoir is. So make sure you fish that through before you put in the headlight. Now we did a slightly different order of operations with the other one, so just make sure you do that first this time around, because it's going to allow you for better wire management. All right, I'm just gonna plug everything back up. This one has a cover. This little stem coming out of the headlight. And the other side, I don't think had that cover on there. So, FYI, oh, what do you know? It slips right in. In retrospect, I shouldn't have buttoned up the other side until I did the DRLs and turned it on, just in case there's any adjustments that need to be done. Oh well, gonna hope I did good. So now we're gonna go into the fuse box, and let me bust out the diagram once more. Let's see, right here in the lower left. So this guy right here looks to match up with the diagram. So I'm gonna pull that guy out, plug it in right in that spot there. Trying to find a nice exit point for this wire now because it's having difficulty closing. I'd have to modify the fuse box a little bit. Right here, the top goes on like this. I cut a little nick right here, so hopefully the cord can pass through and I can click this closed. Got to modify the inner layer as well. There we go. This bunch here. So what I did, you can see where I modified it. Cord's coming out there, it's running through here. Just runs along the side. Cable tied it here. And then bunched up a lot of the excess after I kind of wrapped it, like I mentioned before, on this side. I went under the intake here, the air intake here. I went under it with the cord. And then on the other side of it, you can kind of see right here, it's peeking out. I just fished it under here, under this engine bay cover here. And then, like I showed you here, I have the excess bunched up over on this side. It's not obstructing anything, and it still looks pretty clean under the hood. Obviously, that bunched up stuff right there is just there, but who cares, right? Let me see how it all looks. See how everything turns on. This is low beams. This is the parking lights. And this is actually off. Looks like it increases the intensity of the DRL between parking and off there. So I lost audio here, but basically I'm just running through different headlight option settings on the knob up on the dash. So checking to make sure the daytime running lights are operating as designed. As I stated, I opted for the amber color lights as opposed to the option you have to run the white DRLs. Here you can see turned on the low beams, and then here you can see pretty decent setup straight out of the box as far as the leveling of it. Obviously there are adjustments though, as I mentioned, that you can use to fine-tune things. Here I threw on the hazards so you can see both indicators. Let's button this bad boy up. So from the inside, definitely looks, the focused beam you can see where it's got that kind of brighter, more illuminated spot kind of near the center of the beam there. Compared to my stock ones, there's almost that like blue outline on the top of the kind of the horizon there. Almost looks like a Michael Bay movie with the anamorphic lens or something. There's that. Oh, and then here's high beams. So there is a boot up animation. I'll try to get that on camera